Raymond Link says, I'm a new Christian and my brother is atheist. He has brought up the question of, what if God is lying about everything and this is all a big cosmic joke? How do I combat this thinking? Thank you. Raymond, I'll be frank with you here. I've heard this thinking before, and it's usually from people who are highly resistant. That is, when someone's highly resistant, really far-fetched possibilities feel very likely because they serve a purpose. Okay, I'm not accusing every human of being this way. I'm not accusing of every atheist of being this way. I'm saying in your description here feels a lot like that, right? So let's say somebody really wants to quit their job. Like they just want to quit their job. They don't care what happens in their life. They just want to quit their job. And you're like, you're going to be in poverty. And they go, yeah, but I might win the lottery. And that's what I'm talking about, where they go, oh, but I might win the lottery, right? I mean, I might just win the lottery. You don't know if I might win the lottery. Maybe by quitting my job, I'll meet someone while I'm playing video games online and they'll offer me an even better job. And these are super unlikely possibilities, but they're going to grab them because they're useful to their purposes. On the face of it, the actual possibility that Christianity is actually a joke, God playing a joke on creation, is so ridiculous. It's like saying, I'll quit my job, maybe I'll just win the lottery. And maybe it's more likely to win the lottery in that case. This would require not only that atheism is therefore false, so your friend actually now does need to find God. He needs to figure out what God does want, because his theory here requires there to be a God. But it also requires that God has made it look like Christianity is true. So now your friend would, in this theory, he'd have to be acknowledging that the evidence for Christianity is really solid, because that's the basis of this is that Jesus really did rise from the dead, that miracles really did happen in his name, that the Bible really is this revelation from God. But on top of that, his theory is that, but God's totally just trolling you the whole time. This is so monumentally foolish on the face of it. I don't know that you have to really respond, except to look at him and go, really, explain to me how that works. And allow him to talk, because it's in him extrapolating and explaining how this theory works that hopefully he'll start to laugh at himself in a good friend chuckle way, right? Where you call your buddy out for saying something crazy. This is nuts. To think, God called Israel out. He gave him the 10 Commandments. He did miracles with the Egyptians. He laid out the groundwork for the Messiah throughout the scriptures. He has Jesus come, die on the cross, rising in from the dead, sends the disciples out there to preach the gospel to the world. All this stuff happens that on the surface would make it look like Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, and that you can have eternal life if you just trust in him. Everything about it sends the signals that that's true. And for zero reason, with no evidence, he's like, it's a troll. It's just a cosmic prank. You just need to hold up a mirror so he gets to see that in himself. This is a resistant will. I don't want to yield. I don't want to yield to Jesus. I don't see how this could be anything other than that. So one way to do this, to hold up a mirror, is you don't try to prove it wrong. You try to get him to prove it right. So you say things like, this is where Greg Koukle's book Tactics is really helpful. Like maybe you should study that book, Greg Koukle's book Tactics, really useful stuff. They just did a new edition of it. And the questions you can ask are things like, what do you mean by that? When he says, oh, it's a big cosmic joke, say, what do you mean by that? Just let him talk. Just let him talk for a while. Then you ask, why do you think that's true? Why do you think that's true? Like, and you ask him to give you evidence to demonstrate the truth of it, because you've provided, hopefully here, evidence for believing Jesus. So now he needs to provide evidence for why this is a joke. What makes it evident that it's a joke? And let him talk, and let him try to build a robust, a thoughtful case for this, because it's just going to be full of ad hoc arguments that hopefully he will see. You can see him, but you got to get him to see him. Do all this with a loving and gracious and gentle attitude. But yeah. There's some thoughts on that. It's all a cosmic joke. I've heard, and there's some atheists who take this very seriously, the evil God theory, that God's really actually, he exists, but he's actually evil, not good. He's all evil, not good. This to me is along the same lines, although more philosophers try to take it seriously, at least sometimes philosophers take things seriously by not believing it, but by feeling they should entertain it anyways. And this is where being wise, trying to be wise, can make you do foolish things.